Today we're going to take a look at a new control that's been added to the UX. This is the new video player control. So we've got a panel card here. We're going to go ahead and drop a video player control in. And without doing anything at all, let's take a quick look at working preview and see what we've got. So right now we've got a YouTube player that we just embedded, and we've got a default YouTube video that will play here. So I'll just go ahead and click on that, and you'll see what that's all about. So this is a nice lightweight control that allows you to integrate any video player you'd like. So we've got quite a few supported here. So we've got the YouTube video player. You can pick HTML5 if you just want to play straight HTML5 video. If you do that, what's going to happen here, let's go ahead and select that, is you've got to supply 1, 2, 3 different URLs to point to an MP4, a WebM, or an OGG encoded video, because all the different devices require all these different encodings. So that's kind of important. Then you also want to provide a poster image. And we'll go through some of the other settings here with some of the other players. And we also support Viddler. So Viddler is another video hosting service, and we use them at Alpha for a lot of our tutorial videos, along with YouTube. They allow you to control the branding quite nicely on their player. So that's that, and you can also go ahead and use Vimeo. Vimeo is another video hosting service that that works quite well. So we've got all the different options that are available for all the different types of video players. But typically you wouldn't just include a video player and then hard code a video ID, because then you'd only get to see one video. So let's take a look at an example that might be more real world. So here we have a panel navigator that has 2 panel cards, and one panel navigator has a list, and this is a list of videos. Let's go take a look at this. And so we'll see in our list we've got static data, but this could be populated from anywhere. And in this case I've got my artist name, and then I've got a video ID. So that's really all I need, is that video ID. So that's what we're going to, when somebody clicks on one of the rows in the list, we're going to return the video ID. So in this case, the return field is video. And then down in panel card 2, we've got a video player here. And this video player now is set up for YouTube. And we've also told it to auto-size the video player. Now what that means is that when you display the video player, it will fit the width to the maximum that it can within this container, and it will adjust the height to a 16:9 aspect ratio. So, and it will fit it within the container. So for example, if the height would not fit within that container at a 16:9 ratio with maximum width, it will adjust the width accordingly so that the video player will always fit within that container. Also, when you select auto size the video player, we're going to go ahead and put in on orientation change event handler that will resize the video player. So here we're actually changing the size of the actual player when you do an orientation change on a mobile device. So let's just take a quick look at the functionality of this. So here we have our list of our artists, and when we click on a row, it's going to go ahead and bring that artist into view. We could play this video now. And when I go ahead and hit the back button, notice that the video stops, and now I can go ahead and select my next artist. I could play that. Now, if I go ahead and make a change here to horizontal, you'll notice that the video is resized. Same if I go back to vertical. So let's go back here. So if we go to our list of videos and we take a look at the list events, you'll see that we have an on-click event. And what's happening in this on-click event is the first thing we're going to do is show a wait message. And the reason that I'm doing this is because I don't want to transition into this panel too quickly. I want to give this video a little bit of time to load. Then I'm going to run an action, and this is action JavaScript that's going to get the video ID from the list and pass that through to the player. Then I've got a set timeout here. So I'm waiting a half a second before I actually transition the panel. And I'm doing that just to let the video load a little bit. You don't have to do it this way, but this was something that I thought worked pretty well. So once this timeout clears, it'll hide the wait message, and then it'll set the panel card to active, and that's what brings that video into view. Now let's take a look at this run action here, and we'll just see what we're doing in this action. So in this case, the action name is specify video ID. So the numerous actions that are exposed are to stop the video, to resize the video, or to specify the video ID. So we want to specify the video ID. And we want to do that in the only player we have in this particular situation is the video player 1. Our type is going to be YouTube. That is controlled by the type of video player control that you've inserted into the UX. And then the method for specifying the video ID to play, in this case I've said read the video ID from a list control. And the numerous options that you have there, you can specify a static video ID, which is unlikely that you'd use often. You could tie it to a button or something like that, but I don't think you'd use that very often. Read the video ID from a control on the UX, or to read the ID from a list control, and you can specify whichever field you want within the list control to populate with the video ID. Or you can use a JavaScript function, do all your processing right through a JavaScript function, and pass that information back. So we're going to just read from the list here. And the list ID in this case is videos. And the column that we're going to use is video. Now remember, when we define that list, when you click on this row, we're returning that anyway. So we could have said read the video ID from a control on the UX, and in this case we could have said videos, and we're going to get the exact same result. But I'm going to go ahead and just move it on back to read from the list control so we can see that videos, and then we're going to pick video there. And here we're going to automatically size the player. Again, that's going to happen on an orientation change. It will fit the video within the panel card. And this other option is interesting to note. This is to use CSS for responsive video player sizing. I'll show you that in a bit, but that does not use the on-orientation change event. It just does everything through CSS. It's very fluid, it's very fast, but we don't have the control to fit the player within the panel card. So for example, if the width is such that it dictates a 16:9 aspect ratio that overcomes the panel card and flows below it, then that's what will happen. Of course, you can handle that with a scroll event. I'll show you that in just a sec. Let's go ahead and save that. We click on the row, we bring over the player, we can play right from here, go back, it stops, and so on. Now let's take a look at this on a real device so we can see, well, how does it actually behave on an Android device? Because it's going to be different than within this emulator here. Okay, so this is my Nexus 7, and we'll take a look at this application running on the Nexus 7. So we'll go ahead and tap the first row here, load up the video with Neil Young. We're going to go ahead and start playing that. Now I'm going to go ahead and do an orientation change. So this is right within the UX player. So notice the video resized. I'm going to go ahead and bring it on back. Now I'm going to tap the video and we're going to expand it so that it now launched in a native player. So this is nice. On the Nexus 7 now it behaves a lot like a iOS device. I'm going to go ahead and do an orientation change so you can see how that behaves. So really nice experience. Now if I go ahead and tap on the back button here, it'll go back into the UX. It's a little bit of a video glitch there, but not much. So this Nexus 7 is really a nice device for looking at these videos. So let's go ahead and tap on the back button here. Now we need to stop the video when you do that, because otherwise it will be playing in the background. Let's just go ahead and pick another video, load that on up, and we'll start that playing. So you can just see it doing its thing, and so there it is. So that's the new video player control, and you're taking a look at it in a UX on the Nexus 7. Okay, we're back into the builder here in Alpha Anywhere, and I just wanted to show you a couple more things. So I wanted to show you what was going on with the back button. So when we transition and play a video, well, what happens when you tap on the back button? So let's look at the click event here. And so the first thing we've got is a panel action to transition the card. So we're going to transition back to panel card 1. Let's just look at that action. Set active panel, go to panel card 1 and animate. Let's look at our video player action here. And then we're just calling stop video to stop the video that's playing in video player 1. So that would be very, very typical. Okay, the next thing I wanted to show you was the behavior if we go into the video player, and the behavior of using the CSS for responsive sizing. So when we go ahead and turn on CSS for responsive sizing, you'll be able to see it in working preview quite easily. So let's pick, for example, we'll start out with the iPhone 4. And well, actually, this is an important thing to know about. Notice I didn't get anything. I got a blank panel here. And the reason that that happens is because this video player is set up in a container. This container is sent to center. And we have to take that centering off. Make sure you put it to left, and you got to prevent the container float in order for the CSS to do its job. That is just a necessary setting. So let's go back again and take a look. Pick our artist, and we see our video. But watch what's going to happen now as I change this. So it's very, very quick to respond. There is no orientation change event at all. And it will just adjust to its container, and it's even when it's playing, it's just going to do that. So the only drawback to it is occasionally you can get yourself into a situation where it overcomes the panel. So in this case, the whole video fits in there. But there are times where it might not. So what you have to do there is, if you want to allow scrolling on the panel, what you want to do is go into the panel card itself and make sure you've got the body can scroll. In this case, I really only care about vertical scrolling. And then in this container right here, I would set the container width to something like oh, I don't know. Let's just say 96%, because I've got to allow some room in this panel for scrolling. So let's just try that, and we'll go ahead and see what that does. So let's go ahead and run that in here. And let's see what happens there. So notice I've got this little area here. So we've sized this accordingly, but I've got this little area so I could scroll this video if I need to. Now, the only time you ever need to think about this stuff is on an Android device, because on an iOS device, as soon as you tap on that video, it's going to go full screen anyway. So that's what's going on with using CSS styling. So remember, if you turn it on, if you're using a container, to prevent the container float, and to set the alignment up so that it's left and not centered. Those are the only things you really need to worry about there. So I hope you learned a few things about the new video player control.